decided once upon a time to unleash this thing called high tech, and ever since we thought, this technology would be our slave, and we put it into the factories, and robotics really helped us out there a lot with not having to do some of the hardcore labor, and we introduced it into the checkouts and made some people de-skilled because of these checkout barcode scanners. And now all of a sudden what we're seeing is that they're not our slaves anymore. In fact, possibly they're our master.
I'm getting a bit of an Isaac Asimov vibe. Is that what you're sort of going for here?
I think that's what's actually occurring when I see in my own household, when I see outside in my workplace, when I look at the community and I look at where they are looking. They are not looking at each other, they are looking down, and they're looking at a screen.
Are you concerned about where we're going next? This whole Google Glass thing, that must be... where do you think we're heading with that?
We're headed for bad times, I think, apart from the fact that we will be eroding each other's privacy by wearing these glasses. I mean, who knows whether someone is recording you or not, and whether they'll use that in a surreptitious way or a malicious way. And so you're going about your business, you're shopping with your family, you're at the beach, and somebody's wearing this, glass device, which I would call a nakedizer to some degree, and they're recording you without your knowledge and without your consent. So where are we going? Where are the boundaries, Sam? Where are we going to say enough's enough, and we've got to actually use our basic fundamental instinct that we're actually breaking ethics? We may not be breaking the law, but we're breaking each other's traditional value systems by invading each other's public and private spaces.
Now, where do you draw the line on being reliant and being enslaved? Because enslaved is quite a strong word. Why do you use it?
I think many of us use the excuse that we're reliant on these technologies. For example, I, as a professional in an academic setting, is always responding to emails. I'm always responding to instant messages, Moodle sites, e-education sites, collaborative sites, Twitter. I can say legitimately that my work relies on technology and knowledge that is bred and promoted on the internet. However, when I use that as an excuse to say, well, I'm working, honey, or kids are hungry and they're starving and they're shouting at us, I want someone to make my lunch, and I'm saying, hang on a second, I'm on another call, or I'm on another email, or hang on, hon, I'll come to sleep, in half an hour when I've answered, the boss's 10 questions. Actually, we're legitimizing our enslavement practice, our addiction of sorts. And at that point, I think we've crossed the line because there's no boundary anymore. The bedroom has been invaded by these machines, by email, by iPhones, by what have you. People sleep with these devices on their chest, under their pillow. They go to the toilet with them while they're, going to the toilet, while they're having a shower. There is no boundary anymore.
Would you say that we're becoming so dependent on technology that we're, in a sense, losing ourselves in the things we've made?
We're totally losing ourselves. I think we're more preoccupied with the technology working than we are with the goal or the aim of the device's function. So when I'm worried about, does this phone work, or is my email coming through, rather than what is the point of that email? Why am I responding to it? I think we are losing ourselves, and I'll tell you one area in particular that I think people are finding this, that I have no time for reflection, because everything is supposed to be on live, in an instant message, on a status update, and out there. So I think we are losing ourselves because we're losing the opportunity to reflect through prayer, through meditation, through exercise, through a number of natural means that were innate in us as we came into the earth.
Now, could you walk us through some of the biggest socio-ethical impacts of technologies which you've seen from research in the field?
I think the biggest concerns is something that you mentioned, it's autonomy. We are being controlled rather than controlling. We've lost our free will. To some extent, I think we've lost our human dignity, and we are almost robotically responding to these devices as if they're a higher priority than our relationships with one another. When I'm about to be intimate, for example, I should not be thinking about texting that moment, and yet 20% of young Americans, according to Huffington Post, are plastering the fact that they're being intimate with someone all over the web. I mean, on Facebook, on a number of different social media outlets. But why are we doing this?
So what sort of arguments are you expecting from the other side, just on the debate, and how do you intend to combat them?
I think the other side has a fair and legitimate, I think discussion to be made. I mean, technology has been used for good. Look at the amounts of sharing going on across time and across space. We can't say, down the aeroplane because it's technology, or let's get rid of the radio because sometimes there are negative messages on the radio, or let's get rid of the television set, or, technology A, B, or C. We have had a huge amount of enablement occur through this. We are sharing data. I mean, one has to point, for example, to the revolt in Egypt when people were using social media for good to actually say this is what's going on, and the community and the society is going to speak louder than the controlling factors around us. We've seen this in a number of different scenarios, but the problem is there, Sam, that every good that the technology can be used for, I think there are 1,000 abuses that can be made of them. So it's all about the human element and how we are going to remain virtuous in this very nearby technology. Once upon a time I had to go to the arcade to actually play a game and put money in. Now that game has actually infiltrated my home, and the temptation to get there is huge for young people.
Well, Dr. Michael, you certainly raised some very astute points. So best of luck in the debate tomorrow, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for your time, Sam.
That was Dr. Katina Michael, Doctor of Philosophy in Information and Communication Technology at the University of Wollongong. She's talking to us about why we're being enslaved by our technological creations. And if you want to catch that debate, you want to catch Dr. Michael in action, it's going to be held tomorrow at the City Recital Hall at 6:30. My name's Sam. You're on The Daily.